Hello monsters and monster enthusiasts, I'm Monster JArt and welcome to my channel. I stopped doing makeup and stopped uploading videos a while ago, but I still wanted to make a video explaining why. I kinda felt guilty of leaving without explanations. So that's what this video will be all about. The main reason why I stopped doing makeup is because I lost motivation and I moved to other projects. I knew I had some motivation problems back in 2021, but I genuinely thought that I could overcome them. When I started doing makeup, everything was a possible challenge. There was so much characters that I wanted to do. But after 150 makeups later, I did pretty much all of the characters that I wanted to do and I struggled to find new projects. I started to look for new franchises to find new characters to do, but the problem is that I never got any attachment to those characters. Doing a character that I know nothing about is not as exciting as doing a character that I have known for a long time. I started drawing and focusing on doing original creations, but in the end it hadn't really worked. The problem is that I thought I lost my motivation just because of the characters I was doing, but then I realized original creation weren't solving the problem. Because there were other problems. I think I'll go from the start to explain why I decided to stop doing makeup. Going back to 2018 when I started doing makeup just as a fun experiment. I remember watching RuPaul Drag Race Season 9, seeing Nina Bonina Brown in her amazing makeups, and being like, I want to learn how to do that. That was what started this whole journey. I started with simple experimentation, buying makeup, gathering the basic products that I needed, and trying to follow tutorials. After a while, I became good enough that I wanted to do more. I listened to a lot of YouTubers for tutorials and I wanted to make videos too. Maybe I wasn't good enough for making tutorials, but at least I was good enough for making speed paint videos. Just starting doing YouTube was a thrill, filming my video and listening to them on TV was so exciting. Eventually, I started to see cosplay events popping up in my city, and I thought that cosplay could be a good way to showcase my makeup skills. I did my first costume as Phoenix God of Deception from Magic the Gathering, and I participated in the masquerade. I won a prize and basically the title of the best novice cosplayer. At this point, I finally got a real goal. I wanted to become known in the province as the cosplayer specialized in cosplay makeup. It really became what was driving me, and I wanted to grow on social media in that way too. At the time, I could do 2 makeups per weekend. One on Saturday and one on Sunday. I really wanted to push as much content as I could on social medias in order to grow. At the time, most of my makeups would take me 3 hours to complete. I also spent a lot of time on my cosplays. Most of my free time went on doing makeup, editing pictures and videos to post on social medias, and working on my costume. I really enjoy the cosplay community, talking with other cosplayers and trading tips and tricks. It felt it was a really welcoming community. The only downside was that we would rarely see each other. There were 2 conventions per year in my city, and that was pretty much the only time I could see other cosplayers. I didn't have the time and money to go to the main conventions in other cities. I love the community, but I wish I could see them more. But at the time, I had another reason why I went so hard into cosplay and makeup. I always had a full-time job since I left school, but for 10 years I also had a job as an officer in the Canadian Forces Reserve. My career ended in a disappointing way. Basically, there was a rotation in the higher-up personnel and I left because the newcomers were harassing and bullying me and the chain of command would do nothing about it. It was not like high school bullying, but more like professional sabotage, like trying to make me fail at my task and to push me aside. I got tired of it and I decided to leave, but I never thought that I would leave that early. 10 years is not that early, but I just didn't see it coming. It wasn't planned for me to leave at that moment. Even if it was my choice, on the other hand, it wasn't really my choice. It was only my choice because it was the only way to escape how toxic it had become. But after I left, I felt empty. I wanted to prove myself and to prove others that leaving the army was the right move, even if it wasn't totally my choice. And that really drove me to try to succeed on social media and as a cosplayer. In FAUN 2019, I worked really hard on my cosplay. For the upcoming convention, I would do a cosplay of a Magic the Gathering character, Mikaius the Unallowed. Basically, it was a zombie priest with an outfit inspired from 18th century Germany. It cost me a lot of money and took me an awfully long time to complete. The costume took 6 months to complete, but the 3 last months were really intense. I basically gave up all other hobbies and would spend all of my free time on my cosplay. I was just thinking, I will take a break afterwards and do all of those social activities just after. I also slowed down on doing makeup for our social medias. I completed my costume just in time for the convention in March 2020. The day I was supposed to go to leave for a convention was the day they banned social gathering, and it was the beginning of lockdown. Lockdown hit me hard. Honestly, it's when I stopped doing cosplay. I worked so hard to make this costume, but I could not even show it to any event, and I didn't know when I would be able to. I didn't have the motivation to work on other cosplay while having one that I couldn't even show. But it made me realize that making that last costume wasn't fun. It was really stressful and it wasn't really enjoyable. So during lockdown, I switched my focus on makeup and makeup only. But there's a problem. As I said earlier, my goal as a cosplayer was to get known as the makeup expert cosplayer. But by leaving cosplay behind, I would also leave that goal behind. So at this point, my main motivation was to push forward on social media and to still try to convince me and others that I'm way more successful after leaving the army. During lockdown, I spent way more time doing my makeups. It went from an average of 3 hours to no less than 4 hours. The whole process was taking me almost a full day. I would start early in the afternoon, spend over 4 hours to do the makeup, then spend an hour to take pictures and videos, then I would wash it off in a shower, eat supper, wash all of my brushes, and pretty much just go to bed right after that. But it wasn't a problem during lockdown. I had just nothing else to do, but it started to become a problem right after lockdown. When lockdown ended, I wanted to spend my free time with friends and family, especially after 2 years with an almost inexisting social life. I didn't have the motivation from cosplay anymore. As I said earlier, it was getting harder to find characters to do. After I had done 150 characters, I did pretty much all of the characters that I wanted to do. So, growing on social medias was the only thing left. It was going really well until the algorithm changed, especially on Instagram. Suddenly, Instagram switched focus to videos, stories, and reels instead of pictures, and my engagement fell drastically. For me, the final straw with social medias was when they removed search by new on hashtags on Instagram. At that point, nobody could find my content, and I realized at that moment that if my motivation would only come from growing on social media, then I was doomed. Also, something big happened in early 2023. Since 2011, I had kept the same employer for my full-time job. Because of changes in the direction of the company, I started to become dissatisfied of my job and I started to look elsewhere. Eventually, I got an offer from another company and I accepted it. I switched job and it came with huge improvements. I would be working from home 100% of the time, I would stop to do overtime, and I got a massive pay increase, a little bit over 30%. At this time, I felt like I crossed the threshold. It was such a relief, and I just felt like I made it in life. My life improved so much since then, it's incredible. But with that, I also stopped thinking about the army. Also, it had been 5 years, so I was thinking about it less and less. But as I said, I was trying to convince myself that leaving the army was the right thing to do and that my life got better afterwards. I focused on trying to prove it by succeeding with makeup on social media, but instead I succeeded by switching full-time job. The final nail in the coffin was it in spring 2023. I recorded a makeup technique tutorial and was editing it. Looking for an old thumbnail, I realized that I already covered most of the topics of my new video in a previous video. Pretty much the same things, just presented differently. At this point, I realized that I was repeating myself and it was a sign that I covered almost everything that I wanted to cover. Also, something that is often overlooked. Makeup expires. Now, most of my makeup expired, so I would have to spend a lot of money just to get back into it while not even being sure if I really want to continue. At this point, it is not worth the money to come back into makeup, especially since I started drawing with markers. Now that my marker collection is almost complete, this hobby is almost cost-free. The only cost is to replace empty markers from time to time. That's another big factor. I discovered drawing with markers and I enjoy it way more than doing makeup. Drawing came back as a way to practice my makeup before doing them. But then drawing overtook makeup as my favorite medium. The other thing that I love so much about drawing compared to makeup is that I can do it in multiple sessions. With makeup, I have to do it in one sitting. I cannot eat or go to sleep if I'm tired, it will ruin my makeup. With drawing, I can take as many pauses as I want and time is not as much constrained. If I have 1 hour free a weekday evening, I can spend it on drawing, which I could never do with makeup. I feel like makeup was a gateway to bring me back to art and I learned a lot of fundamentals with makeup. But now that I've found a medium that better fit my budget and my schedule, I don't have reason to go back to makeup. The thing is, doing makeup and posting content on social media was so time consuming. When I reached a point where I felt I didn't need it anymore, it was an obvious choice to stop. I tried to focus my content on technique tutorials instead of makeup speed paint, but it haven't got any more views. Let's be honest, making my YouTube video was really time consuming and I never managed to get a steady flow of views. I got some videos that got over 10,000 views, but most of my videos would not even reach 100 views. I just felt I needed to cut my losses and put my energy doing something else. I wasn't passionate enough to try to push it through. Or to be fair, I just felt too burned out to continue. I also realized that there's just not enough people looking for tutorials on the kind of makeup that I do. Generally, people are looking for my videos around Halloween. Each September and October, I always get a huge spike in views, but it drops back down the first week of November. Most of the YouTubers that are successful with that type of content are the ones that participated in the Nick's Face Award or the TV show Face Off. There's a business logic after all. No matter how much I offer my content, if there's no demand for it, this is not a surprise that I struggle to grow and I have to face the facts. So, in short, I mostly stopped doing makeup for those reasons. I lost a big part of my motivation when I stopped doing cosplay during lockdown, and I had no community left to interact with. Doing makeup became more and more difficult and time-consuming, and I burned myself out. It became a problem after lockdown when I wanted to resume my social life. The changes on social media made my engagement drop drastically overnight, so I lost motivation to pursue social media growth. My life just got better, and I didn't feel the need to convince myself or others that leaving the army was the right choice. I just achieved that goal. And I still want to do art, but now I prefer drawing than doing makeup since it's easier for my budget and my schedule. So, that being said, what's gonna happen with this channel? In some way, it is part of my legacy. When I started doing makeup technique tutorials, I wanted to record what I learned about makeup so that other people could learn from me. So, I have no intention of shutting down the channel, unless YouTube would force me to for some reason. As I said in the title, this video might be my last. I am pretty confident that I will not post any other makeup videos, but I still want to use the channel to show my art. One of the reasons why I switched name from Mighty J Cosplay to Monster J Art was because I love to do monsters, but also with different mediums like Copic markers. I don't know if I will post more drawing videos in the future, but at least I want to keep this door open. Finally, as I said at the beginning of the video, I moved to other projects. One thing that was problematic when I continued doing video after leaving cosplay was that I felt like I was talking to a wall. I was creating stuff, but I could never have any discussion about it or people would not really see it. It was also a big part of why I stopped doing makeup. I would spend hours to create a look just to wash it off an hour later after taking pictures. My new project is still artistic, but solves many of those issues of not interacting with people or the community about my art. I started to do stand-up comedy. I don't do it in English, I do it in French, my native language. I've been doing it for a year now and I love it. I love interacting with other comedians and hearing the public laugh at my jokes. I am to the point where I want to start filming short videos and posting it on social media. The main difference here is that I want to film 90-second videos of some of my jokes, so it shouldn't be as long as what I was doing makeup. To be fair, I kind of have to start being on social medias for my comedy, because more and more bookings demand social media's information to share content. While I would get free advertisement for my content from bigger accounts, I better enjoy it. I'm going slower this time and I want to avoid doing the same mistakes I did with makeup. I want to take it slow and keep it fun. I don't want to put myself in a tight schedule that I would struggle to maintain. I think I will be able to find a balance between live shows and filming shorts to post online. I learned a lot with this channel and it will help me for my comedic career. Especially, it's with this channel that I learn how to film and edit videos, and this will be helpful to have an online presence for comedy. So, I'm really hopeful for my new comedic project that I started last year, but I will take my time to keep it fun and have a steady progress. So, that's pretty much it. These are all the reasons why this video might be my last, why I left, and what I am doing now. And finally, thank you so much to all of you for all of those years for your support. My makeup journey was an interesting one, and it wouldn't have progressed this far without you. Thank you so much, I appreciate it. So, I hope you really enjoyed the video, and please feel free to give a like. Bye!